All right, so this video is going to be a little bit more high energy. Of course, as high energy as I can make it. But that's because this is a video about a framework that I came up with about 9 years ago, maybe. And it's a framework for if you are at a low point in your life. If you have hit rock bottom, I will introduce to you 8 things that you should focus on in your daily life to make your days productive and to help you get out of that rut. So this video is for you if you are someone who maybe you just woke up and you found this video and you don't feel like doing anything at all, like nothing. Like maybe you went through a really tough time in your life, maybe you're addicted to drugs, or maybe a girl broke up with you, or, you know, there are many reasons why maybe you just hate your job. You're totally depressed, and for whatever reason, you just don't feel like doing anything with your day. You probably have a few things that you're not taking care of that you should take care of. And so, in this video, I will introduce to you a framework that I like to call the Big 8. 8 things that if your life is completely disordered, you should focus on these 8 things, and you'll find that life will become more ordered again. So these are practical tips. Of course, you could think about life in a spiritual sense, and that's important too. But these are the more practical tips, the practical side of things, to help you in your daily life. Aside from a spiritual practice, you should take that up too, but this is more for improving your motivation, practically speaking. So the first thing, the number one thing, and I encourage you to get a pen and paper and write these things down so that you don't forget them. Take diligent notes. So if you don't have pen and paper right now, pause this video and go get yourself a pen and paper to write it down, because you don't want to forget it. You should be writing things down. The number one thing that you need to get right in your life to have good mental health, to have peak mental clarity, is healthy sleep. Now, what is healthy sleep? A lot of people don't know. There are sleep patterns, polyphasic sleep rhythms, where you can sleep in 2 3-hour sessions a night, or maybe take 20-minute naps throughout the day. But for the most part, what most people need is 7.5 hours of restful sleep, preferably pitch black, for at least 6 of those hours, at least, and then waking up in the morning around 7 or 8 a.m., whenever the sun rises, going outside, getting that sun in your eyes. That's the most healthy sleep. And it should be moderate temperature, moderate humidity, comfortable temperature, climate. So that's number one. You want to be getting enough sleep. And there are ways to get ready for bed. You know, don't look at bright lights before you go to sleep. Supplements you can take, like magnesium, and I'll get to that in a minute. But that's the number one thing, and if you do that, you'll have probably 90% of the mental health that you need. If you just do that one thing. Consistently, regularly, you wake up at the same time every day, in the morning, go outside, get some sunlight, make sure you have reduced blue light before you go to sleep at night, and you go to sleep at night at the same time, get 7.5 hours, you'll be doing pretty well. Now, you might be stuck in a real rut right now, and that's not enough to motivate you. You'll get good energy that way, you'll have good mental clarity, but maybe there's still more in your life where you feel stuck. So The second thing on your list should be you need to get proper hydration. Hydration is important for men. Hydration is important for women. And I can't prescribe you a certain number of glasses of water to drink, but you need to have your cells be hydrated. And sometimes it's not even about how much water you drink, although you should have at least a few glasses of water throughout the day. But it's more about how you retain that water, meaning you get electrolytes, so salt, potassium, magnesium. These are important to retain the water and absorb it into your cells. So that's the second thing that you need, is you need to be sufficiently hydrated. If you're dehydrated, go get some water. Okay, and I'm actually going to have some water right now because I need to follow my own rules. It's important in life. If you're going to tell people to do things, you should probably do it yourself. So, the third thing that you want to keep in mind and make sure that you have on point, and this one's really critical because most people are actually missing it, is your nutrition. Your nutrition should be on point. And what that means for a lot of people actually is to stop eating processed foods, to stop eating so much processed sugar. Sugar can be good if you consume it in fruit, if you consume it, and that means chewing your fruit. You can also get sugars through carbohydrates, although that takes a little bit more processing from your body. So fruit is actually like the most direct way to get sugar. And you'll also want to have protein, so like meats, fish, sometimes lentils, although lentils can be heavy in carbohydrates. And you'll want to have healthy fats. I like olive oil. I like avocado. Those are my two favorite sources of healthy fats. But some people, depending on where you're from in the world, some people do well with animal fat. But I would say olive oil is probably the healthiest place to get fat from. And there are plenty of foods in the world. There's butter, milk. But yeah. Oh, and eggs are good for protein as well. And the last thing, I guess, is carbohydrates. You got the big macros. I would say carbohydrates you can actually get from vegetables. Most people don't really think about that. And you won't get a lot of carbohydrates, but you'll get some, enough to, survive. And you don't need a high-carb diet. High-carb diet's probably not that good for you. You want to have mostly protein and fat in the morning or as your first meal. You want to lead with protein and fat. That's the stuff that's really going to give you energy. The carbohydrates is more of like sort of a important, I guess, if you're doing more aerobic exercise. And finally, I'm going to go through a few supplements that I take on the nutrition side. Having a men's multivitamin has been very critical for me in keeping good energy, good consistent energy. And so I do find that when I have a vitamin, not that it doesn't matter what I eat during the day, but I don't need to be so fixated on every little piece of nutrition. As long as I have a multivitamin, I know I'm getting the vitamins that I need, so I'm not lacking in any vitamin. And so I take a men's multivitamin. If you're a woman, you would take a woman's multivitamin. And the second thing is I also take magnesium glycinate. So any magnesium supplement that is has good absorption, making sure you have a sufficient amount of magnesium does help with the sleep portion, which was point number one. So I take that for making sure I have healthy sleep. But you can get that in the multivitamin too. The magnesium supplement is just a little bit extra, a little bit of a boost. Finally, I take 5 grams of creatine. This helps with energy when I'm at the gym. Helps me put in 2-hour sessions instead of 1-hour sessions. So just boosts my energy and gives me stronger output when I'm in the gym. Of course, it helps then for muscle growth because I'm able to lift more and exercise more. And I'll add on to this list, but this is not totally necessary, this next part. Right now, I do drink coffee, and I wouldn't suggest that everyone needs to take a stimulant of some sort, caffeine being the most common one. I would highly suggest against taking any stronger stimulants, or certainly any pharmaceutical grade stimulants, certainly not any illegal ones. And that's just because I don't really think it's that necessary. Now, we do live in a very high-paced society where people do take stimulants. It's a common thing for people who are very hardworking, very motivated to take a stimulant to stay awake during the day. But I wouldn't say that it should be that way. But since we do live in this society, if you do need to have a cup of coffee throughout the day, or multiple cups of coffee, keep it minimal. Don't stress yourself out. It does raise your cortisol levels. So you should be aware of that. And also, I take 200 milligrams of L-theanine on days when I do drink coffee to balance out the caffeine in the coffee and make it so it's not so jittery. But if you can actually get that naturally through black tea or green tea. And that's actually helpful. Although it's lower caffeine content, having the natural L-theanine in the tea, anything that's natural is better, really. So you should try to get everything from a natural source. But if you can't, of course, then, because it's just very difficult to manage every little thing in your diet, you can have things like a supplement, like a multivitamin or magnesium supplement or creatine supplement or L-theanine supplement. So that's it on nutrition, really. This is going to be a really long video, I just realized. I hope you're taking good notes. You should be taking notes on this. If you're not taking notes, then go back to the beginning, get a notebook and pen, and take notes on this. Because if you've gotten this far through the video, you probably find value in it. You should make sure you remember all the information so you can do it and apply it in your life. The next thing, so point number 4 in the Big 8 framework is exercise. I put this as number 4 because this is how you get energy and strength after you have proper sleep, hydration, and nutrition. So there are 4 main components to exercise. There's aerobic exercise and anaerobic exercise. So aerobic exercise is cardio, so running, biking, swimming. These are all forms of aerobic exercise. Rowing machine, Stairmaster, walking. This helps your heart rate be elevated. And when you exercise, when you do aerobic exercise for 12 minutes or more, your body enters a different, for all the biology nerds out there, you basically convert the oxygen into energy with 6 times efficiency. And it's just helpful, and it improves your breathing, your circulation. It's important to get aerobic exercise in your life, at least walking every day, if not running a few times a week. And so you should have aerobic exercise somewhere in your exercise plan. The second type of exercise is anaerobic exercise. For most people who just exercise kind of as a hobby, or even people who are professional weightlifters, is weightlifting, strength training. So this could be banded exercises for people who are working on more functional or just lighter training. But for men especially, and for some women too who are up to the challenge, that would mean weightlifting, lifting heavy weight and training your muscles to become stronger. And there are plenty of fitness trainers out there. I might make a video later about how to do proper weightlifting, or like what workouts I do. But you can find so much information online. Basically, in short, do all the exercises, all of them, every week, at least one time, and each time being 3 sets of 10. But basically find every exercise you can find. There are probably like 30 exercises that you need to do to work every single muscle in your body. Just do 3 sets of 10 at least once a week. And you can split that over 3 days. You can split that over 5 days. Just make sure you're giving each muscle group enough rest in between. And third, you do need to be stretching. So you should stretch before and after your workouts. You should make sure that your muscles are warmed up, that they're loose, that you stretch out your muscles before you use them, and then you stretch out your muscles after you use them to help improve your recovery and make sure that your muscles aren't tight while you're working out or after while you're trying to recover. And so that's really important. You should learn how to stretch your whole body. That's something that I'm honestly still working on. But it really helps with especially keeping your muscles functional, and especially for people who are into weightlifting, because the kinds of muscular build that you get when you're weightlifting is very tight and bulky. So you want to make sure you have good range of motion when you're weight training. And the fourth thing would be balance. So with balance, what that means really is training your stabilizers, sometimes training your fascia, but anything where it's more functional movements. And so it could be squats, clean and press, like any sort of one-legged exercise, calisthenics. So this helps kind of the balance between your muscles and the balance with respect to your center of gravity. And also this has a lot to do with your core and having symmetry between the two sides of your body. And also symmetry between the upper part and the lower part of your body. So that's the important part about exercise. And then, so there's 4 more things, I would say, in the Big 8 framework. And the 5th thing would be to make sure that your hygiene is on point. Basically what this means is just take a shower. I think a lot of people who are stuck in a rut forget to take a shower, so this one's super simple actually. Just make sure you're showering, and then make sure you're brushing your teeth, flossing your teeth, like cleaning your body, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, that's something you learn from when you're a kid. So that's the fifth part of the Big 8 framework. Once you do your fitness and everything, like, just make sure you take a shower, go to sleep clean, wake up the next day, wash yourself. Super straightforward. The sixth thing in the Big 8 framework, and you notice these kind of get like, they're important still, but it's like less and less, the sleep is definitely, you need sleep to have an active brain. Less and less kind of critical, but still important for the framework. The sixth thing is interesting. It's sunlight. And you do need sunlight every day. And it's interesting because in some parts of the world, during half of the year, like for example, in Nordic countries, like very far up north, in Iceland and parts of Scandinavia, they actually don't get sunlight for half the year. And people do end up becoming very depressed, some people. And it becomes hard to actually live life to the fullest. And then you notice people go to the tropics, and they're very happy. And they get sunlight every single day. Right now, it's actually raining a little bit, so there's not too much sunlight today. But I'm still getting sunlight. Like, it's still bright outside. So it's important, I think, especially in the morning, after you wake up, to get sunlight in your eyes at 8 a.m. Make sure that you're in the sun and that you're looking at the sun, not really directly at the sun. There's a way to do sun gazing, but that's a very advanced practice, not something I'm even that experienced in. But you do want to be getting sunlight and to be looking out into the horizon, making sure that the sun actually hits your eyes and your body too. We kind of, in a way, like, a lot of people who study energy and stuff kind of think of themselves almost as plants sometimes, photosynthesizing by taking in sunlight through their cells and getting energy that way. And to some extent, I think we actually do that. So make sure you get out into the sun every day. Don't hide inside. Go out for walks. Get some sunlight in your eyes, especially in the morning, and in the mid-afternoon. Those are the most important times to get sunlight. Not the middle of the day exactly, although you can, of course, but it's going to be really hot. So it's actually not the optimal time to get sunlight. The optimal time to get sunlight is the early morning when the sun is rising, and maybe the late afternoon when the sun is going to set. Then you can watch the sunset. And actually watching the sunset is a practice of sun gazing. And so you actually get sunlight directly into your eyes that way. The last two items of the Big 8 framework, and we're about maybe 24 minutes in almost to this video, so I'll try to wrap this up soon before the half-hour mark. The last 2 points are really brief, and it becomes, these last 2 points in the framework, a way to reach out into the rest of the world. So everything up to this point has been how to take care of yourself. Everything here you can do by yourself. The next two things, you actually can't do it totally by yourself. And so it's important to start to think about what kind of value you present to the world. In doing the first 6, you realize sort of who you are. And in the next 2, you realize what you can give to the world. And so the 7th point of the Big 8 framework is to have some kind of purpose. And this comes from a spiritual place initially. Like, what is your purpose on earth? What are you meant for? Who are you, and what is your purpose in life? And then it becomes more practical. What's your career going to be? What kind of work do you enjoy doing? What value do you present financially to the world? So you should meditate on this purpose as you're doing your daily activities. And that's part of the purpose, is to figure out what that purpose is. And then you should start to think about how to present it to the world. And I mentioned this as its own separate bullet point, purpose, because it's something that you are expected to do on your own, individually. Everyone has their own individual purpose. But then once you have it, you should bring it into the world, and it should be something that's useful for other people as well as yourself, because your purpose is more than just for yourself. Which brings me to point number 8, which is people. And so this is the last, and arguably it's actually the most important point, because we as human beings are not meant to be alone. And you can be alone for a time, to meditate, to introspect, but on the whole, you should have friends, and you should be around other people. And so in your life, you should look for opportunities to be around people. Healthy individuals, of course. You don't want to put yourself in a place where there are bad people who are, well, people who do bad things, who might hurt you in some way. That's not good. You don't want to put yourself into those situations. So you should go and you should look for people who are doing good things in the world, who are aligned with your purpose. And it doesn't matter who they are, or where they are in their life. They might be, they might be someone you can help, or maybe there's someone who can help you. Or maybe it's both. Maybe you're kind of peers and you help each other along the way. But you should make the connections and try to find people who can remain in your life in a consistent manner and form deep relationships. And that's really the thing that ties it all together. So it helps solidify your purpose, helps you have motivation to get out of bed in the morning. And that really completes the Big 8 framework. If you focus on those 8 things in your daily life, there's almost no way you can not have motivation. If you have good sleep, if you are well hydrated, you have good nutrition, you exercise daily, you have good hygiene, you get sunlight daily, you have a purpose in life. You wake up every day, you visualize your future, you meditate on your purpose, what your purpose is here in this world, and you spend your time around good people. As long as you have a good balance of time for yourself and time you spend with others, I think you'll move smoothly through life. Now, there are questions of, relationships and finances. I think those are kind of the big questions that people have. But you need the framework first. So I suggest, if there's ever a point in your life when you're struggling, that you go back to this framework. You make sure you have all the boxes checked. And if you're struggling to check all the boxes in your daily life, just focus on that. Make sure it's all good. And then you can kind of ask yourself some of the bigger questions. So that's it. I'll end the video here. Subscribe to the channel if you like this. Turn on notifications, like the video, comment. Really appreciate you watching the video, and hope you found it useful. So, see you next time. Bye.